Imagine waking up and realizing that nearly everything you've ever bought, maybe your morning coffee, that new tech gadget, wasn't just purchased, it was meticulously engineered into existence. What if this entire digital marketplace, I mean, it's projected to be worth an astounding $7.96 trillion by 2027. What if it was all just a carefully constructed system, designed purely for connection and, well, commerce?
Yeah, that's a powerful way to think about it because, you know, e-commerce doesn't just happen, it's engineered. From the business models, the cybersecurity, the whole digital economy runs on strategic thinking, on systems, and critically, on people who know how to build them. Understanding these systems, well, is paramount for anyone looking to make their mark in the modern business world.
And that's exactly what we're going to unpack in today's deep dive. We're sifting through, well, quite a snack of fascinating sources here to really get at the how and why behind e-commerce. We'll look at its fundamental definition, those unique tech features, the diverse business models driving innovation. We'll even touch on its history and future trends. Plus, we'll zero in on the ethical dilemmas, the global regulatory landscape, that critical role of digital transformation, and maybe most importantly for you listening, the incredible career paths waiting for those who really understand this space. This deep dive is, well, it's tailor-made for students, particularly those in BCIS 5 through 79 at Tarleton State University's Dr. Sam Pack College of Business, who are getting ready to dive into building and operating an electronically based business. So before we dive in, if you're finding this valuable already, or maybe you just love getting those aha moments, those sparks for new ideas, please just take a quick moment to like, subscribe, maybe share this with a friend. Your support really helps us bring these kinds of insider tips and crucial insights to more learners like you. It helps position all of us really for a brighter future in whatever career we choose. And don't forget, we've linked a bunch of additional resources down in the description for even deeper exploration. Hashtag tag one. Hashtag 21. What is e-commerce really, beyond just online shopping? Okay, let's unpack this first bit. Often, we use e-commerce and e-business almost interchangeably in just like everyday chat, but our sources really highlight a crucial distinction. So what exactly are we talking about with each term? And I guess why does that precision matter for someone actually looking to build an e-business?
Yeah, that's a great starting point, and the precision is key. E-commerce, at its core, refers specifically to digitally enable commercial transactions. So think transactions between and among organizations and individuals. It's really about the exchange of value money for goods, services that crosses an organizational or individual boundary. And it's all facilitated by the internet and the web. So, buying that book from Amazon, downloading music from iTunes, classic e-commerce transactions, it's really focused on the digital marketplace itself, where buyers and sellers meet. The strategic angle here for you is that e-commerce is fundamentally about the external facing parts of your business, how you engage customers, how you process sales, deliver products, all in that digital world.
Okay, so e-commerce is the external exchange, the buying and selling online. Where does e-business fit into that picture then? Is it totally separate, or do they kind of overlap and influence each other inside a company?
Well, yeah, absolutely intertwined, yeah. But e-business is definitely the broader umbrella. E-business refers to the digital enablement of transactions and processes within a firm. So this covers all the internal digital systems, the processes that help a company run efficiently, but they don't necessarily involve that external exchange of value with a customer or supplier, not in a direct commercial sense anyway. Could be anything, right? Digitizing your inventory management, running HR processes digitally, automating financial reports, the intersection, that happens right at the firm's boundary. That's where those internal digital systems connect with external parties, suppliers, customers specifically for a commercial transaction. For the BCIS 5379 course, understanding this whole environment as well, it's crucial. We're not just looking at how to sell things online. We're digging into the operational efficiency that e-business brings, the legal side of e-commerce, and how all these different technologies integrate to create a complete e-commerce project. It really starts with being able to describe the major types of e-commerce business models, identify their key elements. That's foundational knowledge for any business student putting together an e-business proposal.
That makes a lot more sense. So e-commerce is like the visible part, tip of the iceberg maybe, but e-business is this massive engine underneath driving it all. Okay, so what are the fundamental building blocks then? The bedrock technologies that make all this digital stuff possible, from just buying something online to those complex internal systems?
Right, the pillars. There are three primary technological pillars, quite distinct, but as you said, deeply interconnected. You've got the internet, the World Wide Web, and the mobile platform. These aren't just tools. They literally form the infrastructure the entire digital economy is built on. The internet, well, that provides the vast global network connecting everything, letting data flow. The web then gives us that user-friendly interface, right? With hypertext, multimedia, stuff we navigate every day in browsers. And then the mobile platform, your smartphones, your tablets, that's utterly revolutionized e-commerce. It brought it right to our fingertips, anytime, anywhere. This shift means businesses aren't just designing for like fixed locations or 9 to 5 hours anymore. And just to give you a sense of how pervasive it is, our sources say something like 93% of Americans now use mobile devices for internet access at least some of the time. It's huge.
Wow, 93%. That naturally brings up a really interesting debate. With this explosion in mobile devices, we've also seen this huge surge in specialized apps, right? It makes you wonder, is the traditional web kind of slowly becoming obsolete for e-commerce?
Mhm.
Or are we just seeing a different kind of evolution where, apps and the web coexist, maybe even blend together?
That's a really important question about where digital interaction is heading. And apps certainly offer some big advantages, things like speed, often better offline access, maybe a more tailored user experience. Critical for content owners, creators trying to boost engagement. They streamline specific tasks. They live right on your device, instant access. But the lines are definitely blurring. Technologies like progressive web apps, PWAs, they provide a lot of those native app-like experiences, but right through a standard web browser, no App Store download needed. So while apps are, dominant and super important for certain functions, the web's foundational strength is still in its open standards. Its universal discoverability through search engines, its ability to be this broad, accessible platform for almost any content or service. The web is still a vital backbone for information, even if apps dominate specific user tasks. And understanding that dynamic, that's key when you're evaluating different hardware and software e-business platforms, which is a core skill for a BCIS 53379 students. You need to know the strengths of each. #tag2. The 8 unique features of e-commerce technology, a competitive edge.
Okay, so beyond that basic infrastructure, the sources we looked at highlight 8 really unique features of e-commerce technology. Features that fundamentally change how business gets done. This feels like where the real magic happens, right?
Yeah.
These aren't just like small improvements. They seem like profound shifts that offer a serious competitive edge if you understand and leverage them.
Absolutely. Magic is a good word for it. These features aren't just nice to haves. They're what give e-commerce its transformative power. They impact everything. Pricing strategies, how we interact with brands as consumers, everything. For anyone building or running an e-business, understanding these unique characteristics is, well, it's crucial, especially for selecting the right hardware and software solutions to solve actual business problems. We can think of these features in terms of how they just shatter old limitations. First up, e-commerce breaks free from those physical constraints of time and place. That gives us ubiquity. It means e-commerce is available almost everywhere, all the time. Transactions are freed from traditional geography, traditional business hours. Think about ride-sharing like Uber. Its ubiquity means you can grab a ride from almost anywhere, any hour, right from your phone. No need to find a taxi stand. The strategic so what here is huge. Companies aren't designing for store hours anymore. They're designing for always-on customer journeys. The line between just browsing and actually buying gets totally blurred. It forces a fundamental rethink of the whole marketing funnel.
Right, ubiquity frees us from when and where. Then global reach must define the who and how far we can connect, right? Does that universal access also mean universal rules, or does it get trickier?
That's a perfect transition. Building on ubiquity, e-commerce then just demolishes geographical barriers.
Yeah.
It opens up the entire world as a potential marketplace. That's the power of global reach, the potential market size. Essentially, the entire online population of the planet. A small artisan, say, crafting things in Texas, can suddenly sell directly to a customer in India. Many traditional trade barriers just vanish. And this cross-border e-commerce isn't just theory, it's massive. Expected to hit, get this, $4 trillion by 2027, according to our sources.
Wow, 4 trillion.
Yeah. It means businesses, even tiny startups, really need to think globally from day one. Consider international shipping, different payment methods, cultural nuances in their marketing. It's a whole new ballgame. And to your point about roles, the Internet's universal standards are a critical enabler here. The technical standards of the Internet protocols like TCP/IP, HTML, they're shared globally. It's like a common language all connected devices understand. This dramatically cuts down search costs for consumers. They can easily compare products, prices across merchants worldwide. It also significantly lowers market entry costs for businesses. They don't need to build proprietary systems for different regions. Imagine if every country had different electrical outlets and plugs. Online, universal standards prevent that kind of inefficiency. It fosters real global competition and innovation. The fourth feature is richness. E-commerce allows information to be incredibly complex, content-rich. Think high-quality video, audio, interactive text, all delivered without sacrificing reach. In traditional commerce, you often have that trade-off, right? High richness, like a face-to-face sales pitch, usually meant low reach.
You could only talk to one person at a time. E-commerce overcomes this beautifully. Businesses can provide detailed product demos, immersive virtual tours, comprehensive customer support, all to a massive global audience simultaneously. This means a richer, more engaging customer experience that can build much deeper brand loyalty. Following right on that, we have interactivity. E-commerce isn't just a broadcast medium. It allows for two-way communication. Merchant and consumer, it's not just pushing information out, it's a dialogue. And that enables businesses to create highly customized experiences. Think about the interactive elements on a good website: live chat, personalized recommendations, instant feedback options. They're absolutely vital for keeping customers. They also contribute hugely to operational efficiency by addressing customer needs proactively. It's about building a relationship, not just making a sale. The sixth feature, this one's interesting, information density. This refers to the massive increase in both the amount and the quality of information available to everyone in the market, buyers and sellers. And crucially, it's cheaper to deliver this information digitally. This leads to greater price and cost transparency for consumers. It empowers them to make more informed choices. But it also creates more sophisticated opportunities for businesses to use this data for personalized pricing strategies, because they gain a much deeper understanding of individual customer behavior, willingness to pay.
Ah, okay. So transparency, but also potential for maybe price discrimination.
Exactly. The strategic insight here is managing that fine line. Leveraging data for targeted, effective marketing, but doing it ethically and transparently. Seventh feature, personalization and customization. E-commerce really enables merchants to tailor marketing messages, target individual interests, demographics, past purchases. It even allows them to modify products or services to suit a specific consumer's preferences. Think about your streaming service suggesting movies based on what you watched before. Or sneaker marketplaces like GA using your wish list to send push notifications about specific drops. Our sources highlight that consumers are actually 40% more likely to spend more than they planned if their experience feels personalized.
40%, that's significant.
It is. This isn't just a convenience, it's a powerful driver of sales and customer loyalty. And finally, number 8, social technology. This feature supports all that user-generated content, UGC. Customer reviews, ratings, social media posts, shared videos. It fosters the explosive growth of creator economies too. Customers now heavily rely on the opinions of others. Our sources indicate a staggering 95% of shoppers read reviews before buying.
95%.
Yeah, and get this, 94% have actively avoided businesses because of negative online reviews. So what does this mean for you? It means developing a media content strategy that encourages positive UGC is vital. Leveraging social platforms like TikTok's creator economy or YouTube's revenue sharing for shorts, that's now a fundamental e-business marketing strategy. It's all about building community, authenticity, trust. Recognizing that your customers are now your most powerful advocates, or potentially your loudest critics. #tag3, the diverse landscape of e-commerce business models.
Okay, so we've got the core tech and these 8 powerful features. Now let's explore how businesses actually structure themselves in this digital world. Choosing the right business model. That seems like it's not just some administrative checkbox. It feels fundamental, defining everything from operations to revenue to who your customers even are.
You've hit the nail on the head. A business model isn't just jargon. It's the foundational blueprint. It defines how a company creates value, delivers value, and ultimately captures value, makes money. Our sources break down several common e-commerce models, and understanding these is essential knowledge, especially for selecting appropriate models to address specific business problems. That's a key skill for students in BCIS 5379, particularly as you start analyzing components for your own e-business proposals. Each model caters to very different market dynamics and customer relationships. Let's start with the big one, business to business or B2B. This model focuses on transactions where a business sells its products or services to another business, an intermediate buyer. They might then sell to the final consumer or use those products in their own operations. It's often the unsung hero of e-commerce. It's actually the largest sector by far, dwarfing B2C in terms of volume and value. Think about a car parts manufacturer selling directly to assembly plants through a digital portal, or a wholesaler placing a huge order on a company's website to stock their retail stores.
A prime example is IndiaMart, India's largest B2B marketplace, founded way back in 1999.
Wow, 99, that's early days.
It is, and they boast something like a 60% market share in online B2B classifieds in India. It's a vital platform connecting SMEs, small and medium enterprises, with large enterprises for trade. The strategic takeaway for B2B, it often involves complex long-term relationships, bulk transactions. It requires sophisticated digital infrastructure to handle that.
Right. Okay. B2B sounds like the heavy machinery running behind the scenes. But when most people just casually say e-commerce, they're probably picturing something a bit more familiar, aren't they? What about that direct interaction with us, the end consumers?
Exactly. That brings us to business to consumer, or B2C. This is what most people naturally think of. Businesses selling products or services directly to the end user, us. This model generally breaks down into two main types. First is direct selling. That's where a manufacturer or maybe a wholesaler sells directly from their own website. They cut out traditional retail middlemen. Imagine a popular clothing brand selling its latest line exclusively through its own online store. They manage the brand, the customer relationship, everything. The second type is the marketplace model. Here, an intermediary website lists products from many different sellers. Flipkart, for instance, started direct-to-consumer, but evolved into a huge marketplace connecting tons of sellers and buyers. Other examples, platforms like Just Style connecting consumers with local businesses, or Urban Clap providing home services electricians, yoga trainers by linking consumers to various professionals. These marketplaces thrive on network effects, bringing together enough buyers and enough sellers to make it valuable for everyone. Then we have consumer to consumer, C2C. This model empowers individual consumers to sell their own assets or services directly to other consumers, usually facilitated by a third-party platform. eBay is the classic example, right? With its auction features allowing people to bid on items, often used goods, directly from other individuals. OLX is another one in this category. No auctions there, but it facilitates direct sales between consumers. Sometimes they charge small fees for prominent listings, and they even rate sellers and buyers to build trust. The strategic importance of C2C. It unlocks value from individual assets people already own, and it creates communities around niche interests or used goods. Moving on, we encounter the consumer-to-business C2B model. Now, this is interesting. In this scenario, the consumer actually approaches a business or a website with an estimate for a particular service or product they need. Then businesses bid to win that job. It effectively flips the traditional B2C model, gives consumers more power in the transaction.
So like a reverse auction almost.
Kind of, yeah. Freelancer.com, Upwork.com, those are prime examples. Individuals, freelancers, offer their specialized skills, web development, graphic design, content writing, you name it, to businesses looking for specific project work. Consumers effectively set their terms, find competitive offers for their skills. And beyond these commercial models, our sources also highlight how e-commerce principles extend into the public sector. We see government to citizen, G2C, government to government, G2G, and consumer to government, C2G models. G2C involves governments providing services to citizens online. Think online tax payments, registering for birth or marriage certificates. The goal is usually efficiency, convenience. G2G is about electronic data sharing between government agencies. Different departments, maybe national, state, local levels, aiming for better coordination, less redundancy. And C2G allows citizens to interact with the government, maybe providing feedback, or more commonly, paying bills, online income tax, GST, things like that, streamlining interactions for consumers. Understanding this whole diverse range of models, it's critical for you as students to be able to describe the major types and then select the appropriate ones to solve real business problems. It broadens our view beyond just profit.
Okay, that's a really clear picture of how e-commerce is structured today. But, to really grasp where it's going, it feels like we need to look back at where it's been. Our sources break down its history, and it's a rich, dynamic one, into these distinct, fascinating phases. It wasn't just a straight lineup, was it? More like booms, busts, big shifts, offering some crucial lessons along the way.
Absolutely. And connecting this to the bigger picture, e-commerce has really gone through three major stages. Each had its own defining characteristics, huge successes, and frankly, some spectacular failures too. This historical lens is so valuable. It helps us avoid repeating mistakes, spot emerging patterns, maybe anticipate future trends a bit better. It's about understanding the long game in digital business. The first stage, that was the invention period, roughly 1995 to 2000. This was the famous dot-com boom, a time of just immense, almost naive optimism. The big vision was friction-free commerce, total disintermediation, cutting out all the middlemen, creating perfect markets, driving prices down.
Sounds idealistic.
It was. Characterized by huge excitement, these idealistic visions, and this almost unwavering belief in first-mover advantage. Get there first, dominate. Terms like disintermediation were everywhere. Many startups back then were heavily funded by venture capitalists, often prioritizing super-fast revenue growth, market visibility, way over immediate profitability. This foundational era saw some early experiments like that legendary ARPANET cannabis sale in 71 or 72.
It really?
Yeah, technically one of the first e-commerce transactions. Then Michael Aldrich demoed online shopping in '79. Netscape brought in SSL encryption in '94, huge for security, and of course the landmark launches. Amazon and eBay in '95, Alibaba in '99. But the key takeaway from this era, all that venture capital chasing first mover advantage, often ignoring profits, was a harsh lesson. Hope and ideals don't build sustainable businesses. You need a viable path to revenue, a resilient model to survive past the initial boom.
Right, so incredible innovation, but also a tough reality check on business fundamentals. What happened after that bubble burst? Did the e-commerce dream just kind of fizzle out?
Not at all, actually. It's shifted. Following the bust, we entered the consolidation period, say 2001 to 2006. After the dot-com crash, the focus dramatically swung from just growth to actual profitability. Sustainable business models became the name of the game. It was a more pragmatic era. Traditional, established firms started taking the web much more seriously, integrating it into their existing businesses. This led to what we call the bricks and clicks strategy, combining physical presence with an online one. This period actually saw intermediaries strengthen, not disappear. And we saw the rise of well-funded Fortune 500 companies dominating the space, leveraging their existing infrastructure and deep pockets. For instance, eBay bought PayPal in 2002, solidifying payments. Amazon posted its first yearly profit in 2003. That signaled a new era where profitability was king. The lesson here, integration, solid financial models, just as important as the initial innovation. And then from 2007 up to the present, we've been in the reinvention period. This is our current era. Reinvigorated by the explosion of social networks, Web 2.0 bringing user-generated content, rich media, powerful mobile devices right to the forefront. The focus shifted again. Now towards audience growth, social network growth. We saw pure online strategies return, but in new, innovative markets. We also saw extensive government regulation and surveillance step in a stark contrast to those early, almost Wild West days. A powerful example, the rise of on-demand services like Uber. It epitomizes mobile's crucial role, relies heavily on ubiquity, interactivity, social tech like user ratings to completely disrupt traditional industries. And then, of course, is the COVID-19 pandemic. That just massively accelerated this growth, pushed online sales up 25%, online grocery sales over 100% in the U.S.
Incredible jumps.
Huge. And many consumers said they wouldn't go back to purely in-person shopping like before. This period also requires students like you to really understand major trends in media consumption, online content, which ties directly back to our BCIS 5379 courses focus on operational and legal perspectives. The core takeaway from reinvention, constant adaptation, responsiveness to shifting user behavior, it's non-negotiable now.
That's a really fascinating journey, a truly dynamic landscape. It feels like each phase brought new ideas, and some old ones even came back, but with like a new twist. What were some of the key concepts that really define this whole evolution, especially for us trying to understand the underlying principles today?
Well, several key concepts emerged that are still critical. One we touched on is disintermediation, removing middlemen. Initially, everyone predicted this would lead to friction-free commerce, lower prices, manufacturers connecting directly with us. And while some intermediaries were cut out, what often happened is markets became imperfect. Brand power strengthened, information wasn't perfectly shared. Opportunities arose for personalized pricing. That dream of a pure, perfectly competitive market, it often yielded to the realities of market power and branding. Another crucial concept was that whole debate between the first mover and the fast follower. Early entrants, the first movers, they aimed to build brand recognition, grab customers before competitors showed up. And while they could get significant initial traction, many just lacked the resources or maybe the foresight to sustain that advantage long term. In many cases, fast followers often larger, established companies with deeper pockets, existing assets, more organizational experience, they were able to learn from the first movers' mistakes. And they often achieved long-term success.
So being first isn't always best.
Exactly. Being first isn't enough. Sustainable strategy, solid execution, that's paramount. And finally, we absolutely have to talk about the network effect. This is a powerful phenomenon. It's where the value of a product or service increases exponentially as more people use it. Metcalfe's law quantifies this nicely, arguing network value grows by the square of the number of participants. Think about social media platforms, right? They become way more valuable to you if all your friends and family are on them versus if you were the only user.
Right. Makes sense.
This effect is a massive driver of growth and dominance in many e-commerce and digital service sectors. It creates really strong barriers to entry for new competitors trying to break in.
It's clear that the technology, the business models, they're constantly shifting. But at the heart of all this, e-commerce is just deeply about people, isn't it? How we shop, how our habits are changing, and crucially for our students listening, how we can build rewarding careers in this field that's just expanding so rapidly. The human element seems totally central, both on the demand side, how we buy, and the supply side, the jobs it creates.
Indeed. Couldn't agree more. Our sources really highlight that consumer behavior has undergone this drastic transformation, and that directly influences the demand for a highly skilled, adaptable professional workforce. This is precisely where your skills as future business leaders, information systems experts, truly come into play. Understanding these shifts is vital for developing smart e-business marketing strategies and knowing what career opportunities are actually out there. One of the biggest shifts, how mobile is blurring lines between online and offline shopping. Mobile devices let us shop anytime, anywhere. They connect the physical and online experiences into what we call an omni-channel expectation. Consumers now expect to, say, buy online and return in store, or browse in a physical store, maybe purchase later online seamlessly. This mobile revolution is massive. Mobile commerce sales alone are projected to hit $728 billion by 2025 just in the U.S.
$700 billion just from mobile.
Yeah. The strategic implication. Businesses must design their entire customer journey to be mobile first, recognizing that mobile devices are used at every single stage: discovery, price comparison, making lists, purchasing, even writing reviews afterwards. Consumers also now have much higher expectations for personalized experiences. They expect tailored content, offers, interactions that feel consistent across all devices, all stages of their buying journey. Companies like GOAT, that sneaker marketplace, they exemplify this. They leverage wish lists, send push notifications when prices drop or items go on sale, drives engagement, drives sales, and the data backs this up. People are 40% more likely to spend more than they planned if their experience feels personalized. So businesses have to invest in data analytics and CRM systems, customer relationship management, to truly understand and cater to individual needs. And crucially, shopping has become a social activity, intensely influenced by peers, even strangers online. Our sources reveal that staggering 95% figure again shoppers reading reviews before buying. And this trust in consumer opinion is so strong, 94% of people have avoided a business specifically because of negative online reviews.
That's huge power in the hands of consumers.
It really is. It means brands must actively engage on social media, on review platforms, because consumers are, in essence, becoming their own salespeople, armed with information and influence. This ties directly into understanding those major trends in media consumption, online content, and figuring out how to develop an effective e-business marketing strategy that prioritizes authenticity and community building. Furthermore, consumers today just have greater access to goods than ever before. Cross-border e-commerce means a global marketplace is right at their fingertips. Global cross-border sales projected over $4 trillion by 2027, as we mentioned. But with this global access comes an expectation for localized experiences. Consumers expect merchant websites to appear in their native language, accept local currencies, offer payment methods they know and trust. The strategic challenge. How do you maintain a global presence while delivering these hyper-local customer experiences? It's tricky. And what's really fascinating here is how cultural factors significantly shape all these behaviors. If we draw on Hofstede's cultural dimensions, concepts like individualism versus collectivism, power distance, they play a crucial role. For instance, in more collectivist cultures, social influence reviews, recommendations from family, friends, that's even more pronounced than in individualistic ones, makes community-based marketing incredibly powerful there. This also extends right into communication and trust. Using native languages, incorporating culturally relevant symbols is crucial for engaging diverse audiences effectively. Moreover, building trust, implementing robust security measures, that has to align with specific cultural expectations, particularly around things like uncertainty avoidance, privacy norms. A cookie banner that works fine in one culture might totally miss the mark in another if it doesn't adequately address local privacy expectations. It underscores the need for culturally sensitive e-business solutions.
Wow. Okay, so with this monumental shift in how people buy, interact with brands, influenced by culture, there must be just a huge demand for talent, right? Our sources suggest an extraordinary surge in the e-commerce job market across a really wide array of specialized roles, which has got to be excellent news for our listeners, especially students.
Absolutely. Excellent news. The e-commerce market's rapid growth means a really diverse range of roles are opening up, highlighting the need for all sorts of skills. This is exactly why studying e-commerce, especially through a program like BCIS 53379, is so vital. It's preparing you for a future that's genuinely brimming with opportunities. Just look at the projections. Job market for web developers, expected to grow 20% by 2032. Data analysts, a remarkable 30-35% increase in jobs expected by 2027.
Those are huge growth numbers.
They are. And having a strong computer science or information systems foundation, one that blends technical skills with business principles, that's key to accessing these roles. Let's quickly outline some of these key roles and the skills they demand. First, web developers. They're like the architects of the digital storefront, crafting responsive, visually appealing, high-traffic websites, using JavaScript, CSS, HTML. They're shaping that crucial first impression. Then you have software engineers. They design, test, implement complex software systems for everything inventory, payments, often using Python, C++, AM. They're critical for integrating systems, optimizing security, ensuring performance. Data analysts increasingly in demand, as we said, reviewing vast amounts of data, uncovering customer behaviors, market trends, key insights. You need skills in SQL, Excel, maybe R, plus data visualization to translate data into actionable business decisions. This directly feeds into developing appropriate marketing strategies, protecting all this digital activity. That falls to information security analysts, safeguarding customer data, preventing cyber attacks like ransomware, ensuring compliance. This role demands a solid grasp of network safety, data protection, risk management. It directly addresses those learning outcomes about recognizing and assessing security issues in e-commerce. For the user interaction side, user experience, UX designers are paramount, creating user-friendly interfaces, wireframes, prototypes, focusing on usability, simplicity, consistency, accessibility, all to boost sales and loyalty. Driving those sales is the digital marketing specialist, developing, executing strategies through SEO, search engine optimization, social media ads, email marketing. Working closely with data analysts to refine campaigns. This role clearly supports developing marketing strategies and media content strategies for revenue models. On the logistics side, supply chain managers. Overseeing sourcing, inventory, transportation, ensuring timely deliveries. Requires strong logistics, inventory management skills, often leveraging advanced software for visibility, sustainability, and addressing relevant supply chain issues for their business. And finally, customer service representatives. They're the front line, managing inquiries, resolving issues, building rapport. Needs excellent communication, problem-solving skills, critical for customer retention. And the career progression within e-commerce is pretty structured. You might start entry-level e-commerce assistant, online sales coordinator, move to mid-level e-commerce specialist, operations manager, then senior roles e-commerce manager, director of e-commerce, and eventually executive roles, chief digital officer, maybe VP of e-commerce. Having that strong computer science or information systems foundation, blending tech and business, crucial for navigating that path and understanding these roles, their functions in detail. That's critical for you in developing a professional e-business proposal. You need to consider the people, the skills required to actually implement your solution, analyzing each component of a model to build strong support.
Okay, with so much power, so many opportunities, such rapid growth, it just seems inevitable that significant challenges, complexities arise, right? Ethics, privacy, security, they feel like huge concerns in e-commerce. And our sources definitely highlight some critical areas businesses have to navigate really, really carefully. It feels like building trust is maybe just as important as building the actual platform.
Oh, absolutely right. Trust is the foundation. And this raises that critical question. How do we ensure trust and integrity in this world of increasingly complex digital transactions? Ethics aren't just some fuzzy right and wrong thing here. They're about establishing core values that build customer loyalty, ensure long-term profitability. As Jack Ma famously put it, never deceive others. In business or in life, a company cannot go far by deceit. Trust is the ultimate currency in the digital age. Losing it can absolutely crash a thriving business overnight. These aren't just technical risks we're talking about, they're loyalty destroyers. Our sources detail several major ethical issues to avoid, like the plague in e-commerce. First, online piracy. It's rampant. Unauthorized taking of intellectual property, imitative logos, plagiarized website content, stolen images, videos can lead to serious lawsuits, massive reputational damage. The solution: simple but hard work. Be original. Meticulously document all your intellectual property. Next up, vulnerable data leaks. These huge stores of raw, often identifiable personal data.
Sounds risky just saying it.
It is. While they might seem like a goldmine for insights, hoarding data like that is unethical and often illegal under regulations like GDPR. They're highly prone to breaches, can incur massive fines. Businesses need to shift their mindset. Data isn't a gold mine to hoard, it's a trust asset to protect. Because one single breach can cost way more than fines, it can cost your brand's reputation for good. Using vulnerability scanners regularly to find and fix weaknesses, essential. Web tracking, using log files, cookies to monitor user activities, often done without explicit consent, raises huge privacy concerns, can even extend to monitoring employees. Smart users protect themselves, controlling cookies, clearing cache. Businesses need transparency here. Then there's cyber squatting,
registering domain names similar to existing brands, hoping to sell them at inflated prices. Imagine launching your dream brand. Finding your brand-store.com is already taken and they want a fortune. Authentication, non-repudiation are key protections. And web spoofing. Attackers create fake websites mimicking legitimate ones. Think ama0n.com instead of amazon.com, aiming to steal credit card details, bank info. Strong security is paramount to protect customers. Similarly, email spamming and phishing. Sending bogus emails with malware, clickable links to defraud people. Using DMRC authentication helps establish email security, trust. And businesses must avoid spamming their own subscribers too. Counterfeit products. This is a tricky ethical issue, especially when you use third-party suppliers. Accidentally or knowingly selling fakes destroys trust instantly. Vigilance, verifying with manufacturers, only working with trustworthy suppliers absolutely essential. And lastly, unreliable customer service. Just ignoring customer inquiries, hoping they'll give up before requesting a chargeback, that's dishonest, deeply damaging. Ethical businesses commit to prompt, effective support, always. All these points are critical for U.S. students to recognize key security issues, relate to the legal, ethical, social, political issues raised by e-commerce. It helps you assess and evaluate solutions for your own e-business proposals. Now, to counteract these issues, our sources outline some clear ethical benchmarks for e-commerce. These include transparency, clearly communicating what data is collected, how it's used, often through a clear data policy. Integrity, establishing clear internal policies, guidelines to manage behavior effectively. Trustworthiness, fulfilling all promises, commitments made to customers, doing what you say you'll do. And finally, respect, valuing customer rights, privacy, protecting their information according to country-specific laws.
That's a really solid framework for ethical conduct. But, e-commerce operates globally. How do governments around the world step in? Are the regulations consistent, or is it more like a patchwork quilt of different laws businesses have to somehow navigate?
Yeah, patchwork quilt is a pretty good description, though there are efforts towards consistency. Governmental bodies worldwide are actively regulating e-commerce. They have to ensure consumer protection, fair trade, given the global nature of it all. We've seen this evolve from California's Electronic Commerce Act way back in 1984 to the EU's really extensive inquiries and the far-reaching GDPR. These regulations profoundly shape the digital environment. On a global context, you have things like the UN Sidral Model Law on Electronic Commerce aiming for some uniformity. International bodies like ICPEN, the International Consumer Protection and Enforcement Network, and APEC work on cross-border consumer issues, privacy regulations. But you definitely see varied approaches in regional examples. The UK implemented payment services regulations. India has its Information Technology Act 2000, China's MIT Ministry of Industry and Information Technology, and its electronic signature law regulate telecoms and e-commerce there. And a compelling privacy spotlight in our sources is that Facebook and the Age of Privacy case study.
Ah, yeah, I remember that.
It really highlights that societal tension, right? Balancing powerful business models, which often rely on collecting user info for advertisers, with genuine consumer privacy expectations. Issues like opaque default privacy settings, how data is shared, even government surveillance came up. And that Federal Trade Commission $5 billion fine against Facebook, it underscored just how serious regulators are taking privacy violations now. They're willing to impose substantial penalties. So for students in BCIS 5379, it's vital. You have to study this environment from both an operational and a legal perspective, assess security issues, evaluate the legal, ethical, social, political implications of any e-business solution you propose. Compliance isn't optional. It's foundational.
Okay, knowing all these challenges, especially the ethical, legal, security minefields, how do businesses strategically navigate this incredibly complex digital landscape to actually grow and thrive? It's clearly not just about adopting the latest cool tech, is it? It sounds more like a holistic digital transformation, something that touches every single part of the organization.
That's exactly it. And what's fascinating, or maybe alarming, is that a staggering 70% of digital transformation initiatives actually fail.
70%. Why so high?
Often is due to a lack of a structured approach. As our sources emphasize, it's not simply about buying new software. It's about fundamentally reshaping business models to stay relevant, improve operational efficiency, drive long-term success in this tech-driven world. It's a strategic imperative, not just another IT project. So what is digital transformation, DT, and why does it matter? DT is essentially a structured approach. It meticulously guides businesses through these technology-driven changes, ensuring every innovation aligns directly with the big-picture business goals. Unlike general business transformation, which could be any kind of operational shift, DT specifically leverages technology to improve efficiency, scalability, customer experience. And it matters because technology alone isn't enough.
A robust framework ensures those significant IT investments actually align with strategic objectives. It helps break down those frustrating operational silos between departments, and it greatly enhances agility, letting companies adapt much faster to market changes, competitive pressures. A strong DD framework has several core elements. First, you need a technology strategy framework. This bridges that gap between IT initiatives and the broader business objectives. It involves a critical look at current tech gaps, defining clear, measurable goals like improved employee productivity or enhanced customer engagement, and then carefully selecting the right technologies. Cloud computing, AI, automation tools, whatever fits the goal. It ensures every tech dollar serves a clear business purpose. Second, you need a clear digital transformation methodology, a step-by-step roadmap. This involves assessing your organization's digital maturity, where are you starting from, defining specific transformation objectives, developing a prioritized digital roadmap, what happens when, and crucially, implementing changes in phases, reduces risk, ensures smoother transitions. Continuous measurement and refinement using KPIs, key performance indicators, is vital because, as our sources note, something like 89% of companies hit implementation roadblocks during these transformations.
Wow, 89%. So planning is key, but so is adapting.
Exactly. This structured approach helps students evaluate different hardware and software e-business platforms, making informed decisions that truly solve business problems.
Okay, that all sounds incredibly systematic, like a real engineering approach applied to business strategy. But even with such a clear roadmap, digital transformation can't be easy in practice. What are some of the biggest practical hurdles businesses face when they actually try to implement something this comprehensive, and how do they get over them?
You're spot on. There are significant practical challenges, but they can be proactively addressed. One major hurdle is just resistance to change. Employees often fear their jobs might be displaced, or they might lack the skills for new digital tools. Our sources suggest 24% of senior leaders see change management itself as a big challenge. The solution: transparent communication about the benefits for employees, streamlined workflows, new career growth opportunities, plus hands-on training programs to upskill them. And strong, visible leadership support is crucial to foster an adaptive, innovative culture. Another common challenge: legacy system integration. Many businesses rely on older, outdated systems that just aren't compatible with modern digital solutions. Creates bottlenecks, hinders scalability.
Yeah, I can see that being a nightmare.
It can be. The solution here is often a technology strategy that prioritizes gradual modernization, maybe using middleware solutions or API as application programming interfaces to create bridges between old and new systems. A phased migration strategy lets critical operations continue while tech is upgraded stage by stage, minimizing disruption. And finally, security and compliance risks are always paramount. New digital processes inevitably introduce new vulnerabilities for cybercriminals. Regulatory compliance gets more complex as your digital footprint grows. The solution requires implementing robust cybersecurity measures, multi-factor authentication, encryption, continuous threat monitoring. Regular compliance audits against standards like GDPR, CMMC, NIST are essential. And employee education on security best practices is huge. This ties directly back to our course's focus on operational and legal perspectives, helping students assess key security issues for their proposed solutions and build resilient, trustworthy e-businesses. Leading companies apply these frameworks rigorously. For example, Gartner's framework emphasizes commitment, leadership, strategy, tech, creativity, and tackling funding challenges, always focusing on internal alignment for enterprise-wide transformation. McKinsey's 4Ds framework: discovery, design, delivery, de-risk, that evolved to focus heavily on data, design, distribution. Their 6 building blocks provide a comprehensive approach for large-scale transformations, covering strategy, customer journey optimization, process automation, tech integration, and more. These aren't just academic models, they're battle-tested blueprints. And to ensure long-term success, measuring the impact is critical. Businesses must track the right key performance indicators, KPIs. This includes things like revenue growth driven by new digital products or better customer experiences, operational efficiency reflected in cost savings or faster service delivery, customer experience and engagement measured through metrics like Net Promoter Score, NPS, or customer retention rates. You also look at employee productivity as new tools roll out, cybersecurity and compliance by monitoring security incidents and audit results, and innovation and agility: how quickly can you launch new digital products? What's the R&D return? By consistently monitoring these KPIs, businesses can refine their digital transformation approach, ensure sustained, meaningful growth. which is essential knowledge for students analyzing components of an e-commerce model to develop strong support for their own projects. #Shag outro.
So as we've journeyed through this deep dive today, it just becomes crystal clear that e-commerce truly doesn't just happen. Not at all. It's this meticulously engineered ecosystem, constantly evolving, driven by these profound technological shifts, complex business models, and, well, deeply human behaviors. From really understanding that crucial difference between e-commerce and e-business to recognizing the unique transformative power of these ubiquitous, interactive, personalized digital platforms, we've seen how strategic thinking and solid technical know-how underpin every single successful online venture. We've navigated that diverse landscape of business models from huge B2B giants like IndiaMart to C2C marketplaces like eBay. We traced e-commerce's dynamic history from those inventive, maybe naive early days to the social, mobile, locally driven reinvention we see today, powerfully accelerated by things like the pandemic. We've also shown a light on the critical importance of ethical practices, robust security, and those comprehensive frameworks for digital transformation that are just absolutely essential for sustained growth. And this foundational knowledge. This is precisely what our BCIS 5379 course right here at Tarleton State University's Dr. Sam Pack College of Business aims to instill in you, enabling you to actually integrate databases, web pages, script languages to implement your own e-commerce projects, turning that theoretical understanding into real, practical application.
Yeah, thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive into the technology of e-business. We really hope these insights haven't just informed you, but maybe also inspired you to think critically, think strategically about the digital world and, your place within it. If you found value in this discussion today, please do take a moment to like, subscribe, maybe share this deep dive. Your support really helps us continue bringing these kinds of in-depth analyses to you. And remember, you'll find a wealth of additional resources down in the description to continue your learning journey.
Every transaction, every connection, every innovation, it all starts with someone who understands the system behind the screen. Until next time, stay curious, stay strategic, and keep turning complexity into opportunity.